Hmm. Anyways, welcome to the Cheese Talk podcast. I'm your host, Brian Rago. I don't know what happened there, but I'll have to try to get that fixed. Today, I am joined by my guest, Conrado Pascual, well-known Bay Area Niner fan, and I've had him on my show a few times in the past. And Conrado, what's up, buddy?
Not much, really excited. Obviously, obviously I cover a lot about basketball. So, the WNBA is in full swing. The postseason's almost here. NFL kicks off literally next week. So I'm excited. I'm excited, and it's enjoying the rest of what is this summer.
Yeah, right. And so, just to bring it up, this yesterday, you guys made a trade for Brian Robinson, running
Yeah,
back out of from the Commanders. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited. I'm excited. By all accounts, and I've seen like some practice footage. I didn't attend practice live, but I've had a lot of friends that are like kind of doing beat reporting, whatever you call it, for the 49ers. So they have confirmed that Christian McCaffrey looks really good, looks like his peak self. Um, you know, have a lot of optimism for Isaac Guerrero. He had a nice rookie year last year. We got that rookie Jordan James, and I think he had like a little bit of a setback, so I'm not really sure. But regardless, whether it was Patrick Taylor, who else did we bring in? Corey Kiner. Like, we just had a bunch of running backs who we kind of thought might be able to, crack the roster as like the fourth back, and they keep going down, so you never know. Isaac Guerrero had a little bit of a setback early in training camp. So I really like the addition of Brian Robinson. Um, if Christian McCaffrey truly is healthy, I love this kind of thunder and lightning, or lightning and thunder, kind of combo.
Right.
Um, the Niners, it's well documented. We weren't particularly the best scoring touchdowns or scoring in the red zone. So a guy like Brian Robinson, who had like a really high rate of converting on third and fourth down, is a nice addition. Just kind of getting like those tough yards on goal to go situations. So I'm pretty excited. I think he really fits in. I think fits in with the dynamic of this team and what they're looking for.
Yeah, it just seemed like right after last year, end of the season last year, like before it was like a dumpster fire. There's just people wanting to leave. Samuel's gone. You get Ayuk, and is he injured? Is he? What's the
So
status on him?
yeah, no, I mean he is going to start the season on PUP. So pretty much the earliest we'll see him, I guess, is like what, week 6. Um, he's back to being able to. I'm not in full football activities, but I mean like he is doing like actual drills. He's running. He's being able to do simulated catches and stuff like that. Um, but by all accounts, he is not experienced any setbacks. So um, we will be looking forward to having him back. Like, I think we will need him, if we really want to, make some kind of postseason run. But until then, all the more, the guys that we do have, some journeymen, that have had success at their prior destinations or their prior teams. But even them, right? They're kind of like going down with sprains, or, like knee sprains or hamstring pulls and all kinds of weird maladies. So there was actually another trade a couple days prior. So again, another small scale trade where we sent, I think it was like a pick swap or something like that, like a 6th, 7th round pick swap in order to acquire Sky Moore from the Chiefs. So, at this point, it's just more about like acquiring some ideally playable depth, guys that at least have some kind of like adaptable skill. So yeah, I mean, I think when I was on this show, that was like right before, I believe it was right before the draft, and
Yep.
that you were referring to, right? Had a lot of like kind of marquee or notable names like free agents, guys leaving free agency. I think we have addressed some of those holes, via draft and then from our own free agent signings. But then, of course, the injury bug kind of bit us. I don't know, maybe better now than later in the heart of the season, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I like the collection of guys. It's just a matter of like, will they actually be on the field?
Right. What are your thoughts on Ricky Pearsall?
I love Slick Rick. Again, like from a personality and kind of like organizational point of view, like I think he really fits the team ethos. I don't think anyone can really question his toughness given what he went through as a rookie. Some scary stuff. You don't want anyone to have to go through that kind of ordeal. But once he finally got up to speed last season, I know it's late in the season. The Niners were out of postseason contention, so you take it with a grain of salt. It's like, well, are you really going all out? Are your opponents going all out? But I think he showed some great stuff. Like, all the things that really, um, you know, caught Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's attention. Just very excellent, crisp route runner. Maybe not like the best top end speed, but again, just really creative of how he gets separation. Good hands. He's displayed all of that in the preseason. So I think even before all these injuries, I mean, I personally was looking at him to be one of our number one or number two receiver. Even like when Brandon Ayuk returns and everything like that, I think they will really need him to kind of step into a significantly bigger role than he had last season. But he looks like he's prepared. He really does. He and Brock Purdy have a really good rapport. As Kyle Shanahan will remind everyone, like if you're a willing and capable blocker, you're going to get playing time, and he is. He showed that again in I think the second preseason game. I think before Corey kind of got hurt, really like sprung some gaps open for the running game. So I'm really excited for him. I really think, I mean, yes, by default, since so many guys are out for different reasons, Demarcus Robinson will miss the first 3 games of the season because of his suspension, which they're appealing, but regardless, he's going to miss time. And they knew that. They knew that. So, I mean, like, Juwan Jennings is kind of like holding out, holding in. We don't really know. He's got like the nicest dude. So it's like, is this really a holdout? I don't know. Right. So, yeah, I think Ricky Pearsall is going to be huge. And I totally understand everybody, flocking to get him on their fantasy teams. Right.
It's like even the Packers receiving room, and then you get all these injuries. You have such high hopes, and then everyone. I mean, Matthew Golden has looked absolutely amazing. His break off the line, his speed, his willingness to go for the ball. He's 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 good. I think the Packers are gonna do good things. I mean, he's fast. He has like a 4.3 40, I think, or four.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, I'm just excited. I haven't been this excited for, I guess, to see a rookie perform than I have Matthew Golden. You got Savion Williams too. He's fast. Once he gets the ball, he has good breakaway speed. So, but then again, he's got to kind of hope injuries don't come after your team more than they already have in the preseason because the Packers are down pretty big too as well. So
Well, you have you still, in addition to those two guys, you have right, Jaden Reed.
he was in a walking boot last week.
Okay. So Dontavian Wicks is still good to go.
Dontavian Wicks, Malik Heath looked good. Romeo Dobbs.
Okay.
The thing with Dobbs though is that he's been hit with a concussion bug. He got the concussion, that bad one last year, where he missed significant time after that. And it's just once you're like susceptible to getting concussions, I mean, you've got to be careful because they can come quicker and quicker each time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I saw those reports. I don't know if there's much validity to it. The potential that he could be traded prior to final cut downs. I can't imagine they would just waive him outright. I mean,
Kay Adams was in Green Bay that was it yesterday or what? That's her name, right? Up Kay
Yeah,
Adams, the reporter, and she loves coming to Green Bay, and she had the floor for an interview, and she flat out asked him, and he pretty much said, yeah, he's not getting cut.
okay. All right.
um,
Could he be
but
traded though? I mean, like,
I don't know. He's when he his rookie year, I said that he reminds me of a mix of Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson, just the way he is, and I mean if he's healthy out there, he has sure hands. You know, he's a good blocker. So I guess I don't know. I would hate to see him go because I think
yeah,
if we were to line up our receivers in a line, the top two receivers, one healthy, I think one would be Dubs. Our two receiver would be right at this point. I would say Jaden Reed, and
yeah,
then I mean Watson if he's healthy. I mean if Watson's healthy, I mean it's hard to tell because having a full strength receiving core, it's hard when you have a bunch of guys that could be number ones to put them 1 through 4. You
yeah,
know, because then if you have Matthew Golden lighting it up, he could be a true number one. So it's like when you're in a situation where you have like 1 to 5 potential number one receivers, you know, it's kind of hard to go 1 through 5. But I don't know. Hopefully Christian Watson comes back. You know, they have him coming back faster than expected too. I think this year he's out running 20 something miles an hour. You know, on the sidelines during
all
practices and
right.
running routes and everything. So I was going to ask you, how much does the return of Robert Saleh help your defense?
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, I think like Steve Wilkes and all of them, and you know, I don't even remember who we had last year, but I know we had Brandon Staley kind of like as a quite like an advisor. I don't think he wasn't the DC. The point being was, I mean, like they just weren't really on the same page as Kyle Shanahan. Now, obviously, Kyle Shanahan is the head coach, and you know he doesn't have the title of OC anymore. But let's be real, right? I mean, he's very influential in the play calling. Um, I think just they kind of when Salah left, they kind of lost that balance of being able to play complementary football. I think it was just two very individual units, which sometimes that could work. But I think just like kind of the nature of the way the Niners are built, they kind of need to be in lockstep in order to kind of understand like okay, how to position themselves to at least win the field position battle. I think that it's really kind of like escaped us these last 2 seasons. Um, but Robert Saleh was basically like he had direct say in every defensive draft pick that we had this season. And this past draft, they went very defense heavy. Jed York had a ball drafting or tweeting from the war room saying like, "Hey, Robert Saleh feels like we need something to be safe." So like he had like weird puns like that. So all of that is to say that finally we have a defensive personnel that is directly what our DC is looking for. Like these are the guys he's looking for and he has a vision for them. Whereas, I mean, it's okay. Again, other organizations can do it, but John Lynch these past couple of years, he went out, tried to identify what the defense needed, drafted those individuals, those players, or signed those players. But then our DC kind of had to figure out, okay, how can I use them in what I'm trying to do, right? It's a very just it's a different way of going about kind of mapping out what you envision for the team. So I think with Robert Saleh coming back, like these are his guys, right? There's less of that trying to find ways to fit them in. Like he's brought them in with the intention of having a definitive role. We're kind of seeing it on the early returns, especially from our young guys. And then even a couple like what at this point, a month or two ago, they swung a trade for like Bryce Huff. Acquired him from the Eagles, didn't really work out for him. I mean, like obviously he was on their Super Bowl team, but his playing time, his role kind of dwindled as the season went on. Basically, the Eagles acquired him because he had a breakout year under Robert Saleh, with the Jets. So again, it's a mixture of guys he's handpicked, and then guys that he just has a lot of familiarity with working, having coached in New York. So I think this just really works out. I think, and even our special teams, which has been horrible these last two seasons, right? Again, everybody seems to be on the same page. And especially right now, given the injuries, it's good that the entire coaching staff seems to kind of have a collective understanding of what it is they're trying to do from a game to game basis.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned special teams, and I automatically thought of for the Packers. For like the last like 3 or 4 years, we've been up in arms over kickers. Like, if we had a legit, trustworthy kicker, like there's some games that would have ended up differently, and we probably would have made it further in the playoffs than what we did. Whatever. But we got McManus, who he had ungodly in training camp. I think he maybe missed like 2 or 3 total field goals all training camp long. So I'm happy about that. That's one thing that we didn't have to bitch about this offseason was a kicker, because we knew we had one, and we signed him to like a 2 or 3 year extension. So that's awesome. But yeah, special teams is huge. Even like for the Packers, they brought in Isaiah Simmons and in a 1 year deal or whatever, and he's not the best linebacker in coverage, but I don't think he's a coverage linebacker. I think he's more of like a blitzer, and put him on special teams to run down the field and tackle somebody,
Yeah.
So you just sometimes you question what the front office is doing, but in the end, I always say they have their job for a reason, because they're that's their job. If they weren't good at it, they wouldn't be doing it, right?
Yeah.
I don't care what team it's for. They're in that spot for a reason, So
Yeah. It's funny that you actually brought up kickers, because that actually is a continuous like storyline out here in the Bay. Is just like the fans. I don't know if the coaching staff either. Like, can they really trust Jake Moody? And it's like it was so bizarre because they brought in Greg Joseph, veteran, very battle tested, to really push Jake Moody. And every day we get reports of this quote unquote kicking competition. And Joseph seemed to be outperforming him, and then they just waived him outright. But
the Packers we had Greg Josephson, was it last year or the year before, in training camp? But then I remember, didn't Anders Carlson, didn't he go to the Niners?
Yes, he did. He did. He did. I think he made some game winners, not like high pressure moments, but like he had the go ahead, field goal for us. So
yeah, it's just, well, his brother plays for the Raiders and he's good, so Anders must be good, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm just happy that we got a dependable, kicker that can, down by, a field goal or whatever in the closing minutes, it has a 90% chance to make it. I'll take it,
Yeah. Yeah, I think Niner fans would love to have that feeling. We don't. I mean, Jake Moody, he made a 59-yard game winner last week against the Raiders. So I mean, like, obviously he's our kicker. Fans are frustrated because it's like, are you keeping him to like prove like the organization, they drafted him. Like, are you keeping him around because you don't want to look bad because you invested actual draft capital on him? I don't know, because it seems like he's had a longer leash than probably you would think like other organizations would have, allowed. But I mean, I wish the kid the best of luck. Obviously, I want my team to win games, but we'll see. We'll see if he could build off that.
Yeah.
A turning point.
How do you think Aaron's going to do in Los Angeles? Aaron Rodgers. Or not in Pittsburgh. Sorry. I was thinking Devontae Adams. Yeah. How do you think Aaron's going to do in Pittsburgh?
I think he'll be able to add to his all-time records, and I think he can go out playing he can go into retirement having played, and not having the last moments being like getting injured on the field, right? Like with the Jets. So
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever see his wife in public? They
um
everyone's questioned it. Everyone thinks that's a big hoax. Like no one knows who
I
she
mean
is.
hey, that's cool, right? Your private life is your private life. I'm really confused. Like, I I don't really know when he's being serious anymore. So
Yeah.
like I just kind of like, let it fly over my head. I'm like, whatevs.
It's like a Manti. It's like a Manti Te'o moment, you know.
Yeah.
His fake girlfriend, you know.
I mean, I don't know. Like Aaron, you saw there were moments with the Jets last year. He still seems to have those moments where, again, like he can be very efficient and he can minimize disaster, right? Like he will minimize risk. That's largely what he's done, but like to a very high level, you know. But again, uh, he just doesn't really seem to have the same kind of zip on those passes. So even as efficient, even if he can identify those tight windows, just doesn't have the same zip, like the velocity, the touch. So he's more of like, you know, it's funny, right? Because when he was drafted, right, who was the other quarterback in the first round? Alex Smith, right? Rodgers is like he's the game changer. Alex Smith is the game manager. I mean, make no mistake, he had a better career than Alex Smith. But Aaron, at this point, he strikes me more of like a game manager, right?
Right.
And I get, Pittsburgh. Hey, kudos to them. They don't have losing seasons. He might get them to like 9-8.
But I
As
mean, you know, they have a good defense, and I mean, they
they
added
do.
what Jalen Ramsey. They got DK Metcalf. I mean, Aaron can make, as anyone saw in Green Bay, he can make Jake Kumaro a freaking fan favorite, you know,
No,
and some guy flying under the radar. He can get the ball. If they can get open, he's going to make them look good. You know, look how many receivers he made studs. You got Devontae, you got Jordy, you got Greg. I mean, even Greg Jennings, Donald Driver. I mean, just this the quarter, just the receivers that he threw to that made them good. I mean, it goes to show you that you don't have to be a number one draft pick to quarterback to be successful. It's just I think I think he's going to do good in Pittsburgh. I really do. I hope he
I
does.
mean, I think it's all relative. Like I said, I think they'll definitely be in contention for the playoffs for a lot of the reasons you said. I like that they've upgraded their running backs. I think they should have a I think they should have a significantly better running back or running game. All of that to say, those are the things that could definitely kind of put him in a position to succeed. It's just at this point, like, no, I mean, it's understandable. He's not going to be the Aaron of 10 years ago, who would be, right?
Right.
And that's why I'm saying I think like the way especially the national media discuss him is, of course, he's not going to be. I don't think you should expect him to be that guy, but he still can be successful relative to what the Steelers are going to ask him to do.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you some questions that involve your Niners division.
Okay.
Um, can Brock Purdy thrive with the current injuries and stuff going on in San Fran?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, statistically, even last year, he had a very good year. A lot of the things that, I think, uh, you know, his passing, both in terms of completion percentage and, right, like his air yards were great, right? The average depth of target was up there with any of the best quarterbacks, right? But again, what ailed us? Turnovers, right? And some of which was, from the offensive line, either pass protection or whatever. And, penalties, again, whether that's the O line or skill players, and then just not converting touchdowns. It's weird to say that, or at least right now, obviously, like we don't have Ayuk, we will not have Demarcus Robinson for at least the first 3 games, but part of this off seasons, okay, now we got Christian McCaffrey back. Yes, we will depend on him in order to put up like, some touchdowns. But I think also a big emphasis this season was the Niners. Kyle Shanahan wants to actually make Kittle a focal point of the offense. Whereas, make no mistake, he's always been great, but he himself has always he looks at himself as a traditional tight end. He is a blocker first and then a pass catcher next. This offseason, they went out, they signed Luke Farrell to a 3-year deal, right? They brought back Kyle Juszczyk when there was ambiguity as to whether or not he'd return. All of that's to say is no. They want Kittle to actually be a primary receiving option, and they want other guys to block. And so I think even though our distribution tree might be a little bit more streamlined, I think that actually helps Brock. And so I think, yes, I think they can go like toe to toe with our NFC West rivals.
Yeah. Who do you think has the best QB in the NFC West?
Let's see. I'm fine. Whatever. Go call me a homer. I'm gonna say it's Brock. I'm gonna say it's Brock right now, only because there's a lot of ambiguity with Stafford's health. If you're telling me Stafford's healthy, I'll still say Stafford. I mean, he could like literally physically make throws that Brock can't. Kyler, obviously a very dynamic guy, but in terms, or athlete, but in terms of quarterbacking, I'm not saying he is like, he doesn't read the field well, but he's still very susceptible to a lot of those turnovers. Same thing with Geno to a lesser extent. However, like he has had some really good success with Pete Carroll. But I think, again, in terms of like how Brock relates to Kyle Shanahan's system, and again, like just the way he the touch, the way he layers his throws, I'm gonna go with Brock. But again, the fact that like Rams fans are freaking out that Jimmy G might really have to start games, that's why I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna say Stafford right now, so I'm gonna go with Brock. Go ahead, call me a homer.
No, that's fine. Who do you think is the best receiver in the West?
Ooh, um, let's see. I mean, they got okay. Let's go. Seattle has JSN. You know,
Cooper
uh,
Cup.
the Cooper Cup. Okay, I'm just kind of going down the list in my mind. I like the potential of Marvin Harrison Jr., but he hasn't shown it. Like it hasn't all come together yet. He's had those flashes. I'm gonna go with again if he's healthy, Puka Nakua.
Okay.
I don't think it's particularly close right now.
Yeah, he looked good definitely when he's healthy. I I'm gonna go with I'm gonna chime in and say Devontae Adams.
I was thinking about that too. It really depends. Again, like
If Jimmy G's throwing him the ball, it ain't gonna happen. But if it's
that's the
Stafford,
thing,
it'll happen
right?
because Devontae had the sideline moments in Las Vegas when Jimmy G was quarterback, and I don't think they get along.
Well, the irony, right? That he was like mic'd up talking about like how Jimmy was like getting himself like he was gonna get Jimmy was gonna get him killed, right? Throwing all those hospital balls. And now they're like reunited in LA. I mean, he's still great. I don't know where you'd rank him now currently. Like, is he still a top 10 wide receiver? He arguably is. He's kind of like, at least from what I saw with the Jets, and maybe that was just by design because like he was like their best option, or at least he had the best rapport with Aaron because it never seemed like Aaron and Garrett Wilson got on the same page. But like last year with the Jets, it seemed like he's kind of entered like that phase, like kind of guys like Des Bryant and Marcus Colston, where like they become like just primarily high pointers, right?
Yeah,
Like I'm gonna throw you something and I'm gonna high point you the ball. So he definitely could still do that with the best of them. And that's what I'm saying. Like he could probably still be as dynamic as he was if Stafford's throwing him the ball, but if
yeah.
Jimmy G even tries to high point the ball, I'm not even sure where that's going. So
How have you been to all four stadiums in the NFC West?
I have.
You
I
have.
have
Okay,
actually.
this will be a good question though. Which NFC West stadium has the best atmosphere?
Ooh. Um, that's a good one. I'm not a homer. It's not Levi. You know what I'm saying? I like Levi, but it's not. I know some people, especially fans that grew up with Candlestick Park, they're always like not. They're never really going to fully embrace Levi, but I do like it. But it's not the best atmosphere. It's probably I. It's got to be Seattle. It is. It
Yeah,
is. Even going there as like a rival, as a Niner fan, like it is as raucous, as it seems on TV. They'll definitely make every opponent feel unwelcome. There's never a quiet moment, barring like a timeout or injury or something like that. I do
sure.
like SoFi, but SoFi is kind of, in the mold of a lot of the new state of the art stadiums where there's a lot of bells and whistles that kind of distract you from the game, Like I don't really care. I have a phone. I don't need big signs with crazy LED lights telling me what my fantasy football score is, you know? Like obviously SoFi is built for concerts as well. So I understand it, but it's a really amazing stadium. It's just
Yeah,
for if you're a football fan, like I whether it's Lambeau or like Soldier Field, right? Like I, as a football fan, I appreciate that kind of atmosphere. Like
yeah. I think
you're
you'd
here.
love. I think you'd love Lambeau.
Yeah,
It's all
right.
the
Like
history.
yeah, like I want to come for a football game. Yeah, make no
Yeah,
mistake, the other stuff is cool, but
you come for a football game, and middle of winter, and you're in the parking lot, grilling out and having a good time, and all that. It's football in the cold and in the rain and the snow is the best. Especially at
yeah.
Lambeau Field. But who do you think wins the NFC West this year?
Honestly, I think. Whew, I mean, earlier in training camp, before like all these weird like injuries, I really felt good about the Niners, just because again like the strength of schedule. But now things are popping up where like even like the quote unquote easy games might be a little tricky, especially some of them being on the road. I want to say the Niners. I guess I'll still say the Niners. I do feel like Seattle will be right there. I do. I really like what they've put together. Um, you know, we'll see. I mean, obviously they brought in Sam Darnold to replace Geno. From a transactional standpoint, that's cool. We'll see how much like JSN takes the leap. I really just like what they've done defensively. I think they've kind of quietly assembled a really good a defense. So obviously, Skywalker, right? Kenneth Walker is coming back. By all accounts, he's healthy. So I mean, it looks. I mean, preseason can always, you take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, Darnold looks good. I don't think he's like that whatever stealth MVP that he was last year with Minnesota. But I think he can be as serviceable as Geno was, and so I think that could be
Yeah, it's
cool.
crazy you bring up the Seahawks because the Packers and Seahawks had joint practices this last week in Green Bay, and Zach Tom got ejected out of the practice yesterday because a huge brawl broke out and he was throwing punches at everybody, and like Seattle was like in the Packers offense chirping, and or in their
Yeah,
huddle chirping, and Tucker Craft body slammed somebody. It's awesome. But I don't know. I just that's the kind of fight. Yeah, that obviously in the heat of the moment they're competitors, whatever. But that's the kind of team you need. You need a team that's not afraid to back down, and
yeah,
fight and stick up for your teammates because that makes the game a lot. There's a line you don't cross. Um, Kind of like the Lions, how dirty their defense is. I still think they're dirty. You got Kirby Joseph out there, and that's something that I think that's trained. They're trained to play that way by their coach. People can say that it's not true, but I mean, come
yeah.
on. You look at Dan Campbell. That's just the atmosphere that's in Detroit, and it's. hopefully,
It's
hopefully,
funny you say that. I was telling my friend he's a born and raised Detroit, guy, diehard Lions fan. I'm like, you guys hit a lot, you yell a lot. You don't really get any stops, right? I mean, you allow a lot of yards, and
yeah. I
all that
mean,
crap
you know,
fighting results
it's
in penalties. Like,
I'm just curious to see like how good they're going to be this year with losing Ben Johnson to
yeah,
Chicago because
yeah,
I've said it a few times now. I think Ben Johnson was masking a lot of Dan Campbell's faults. Like I think a lot of the things that were going should have been credited to or Ben Johnson and Dan. I just don't see it this year with Detroit. I mean they have the weapons, but let's just hope they're not as good as they were last year because that was a scary team. You got Jameer Gibbs and Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and so
I mean, I'm sure Lions fans can, weigh in better than me, but just from an as a non-Lions fan, as an outsider, looking in, their losses, whether through injury or free agency, their losses in the trenches on both sides seem very significant. Like I'm not really sure that you replaced it. So as you're saying, like I mean, can you really get that explosive game again if you don't really have the guys up front? That's to be determined.
yeah, it was funny hearing last year Lions fans talking about, oh, we got 15, 20, whatever injuries on both sides of the ball, and go back and look at the 2010, 2011 Green Bay Packers and how many guys are on season-ending IR, and we still won the it just injuries is part of the game. That's why they say next man up.
Yeah.
um. So we're gonna do a little transition here. I just want to let the people watching know. So you cover a lot of WNBA basketball, correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Um, what is it about the WNBA that sparked your interest in covering it?
I mean, I've always just been like a basketball fan, period.
Right.
So I don't know if there's necessarily. I know every sometimes people have like their stories, some of which can be romanticized about like what hooked them to the WNBA. I don't know if there's any one specific player. I do remember like really enjoying watching Becky Hammon when she was a player, just because like it's kind of like it's always fun to see like that smaller dynamic guard just somehow like getting around up and around like the bigs, but um I don't know. I always felt like the WNBA, it is very different from the NBA, for a number of reasons. But stylistically, I mean, they're kind of incorporating some more elements of NBA play, like a lot of pace and space. But for the most part, like if you're kind of like a old school fan that you really do enjoy, like kind of half court playing through the low post, you see a lot of that in the WNBA. It's still prevalent now, and so yeah, I mean, even prior to uh, Caitlin Clark joining the WNBA, like there was a lot of positive momentum. You could start to see like the growth throughout the league. So I mean, that interest just kind of translated into wanting to cover it more. I mean, I love the NBA as well, but there are a lot of people that cover the NBA, right? So I mean, that's time that like I try to share some enthusiasm and insight about the W.
Sure. So that's going to lead into something I'm going to start roll up brand new on my podcast. It's called Rapid Fire, and I'm going to ask you some questions
Okay,
yeah, just you can elaborate as much as you want. Be short, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to
okay,
start here shortly.
no problem. Exciting.
All right, so WNBA Rapid Fire. Best player in the league right now.
It's still Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces, reigning MVP. I think Nafisa Collier of the Minnesota Lynx is like right there. But I think in terms of just pure individual dominance, not that Fee isn't, but like Asia can basically just reach a level I think that right now no other player can. She can be truly a one person offense and defense. Really, I mean, at
Yeah,
times,
she can take
lost.
over a game.
She can absolutely take over a game again on both ends. Like the Aces. I've been very critical of the Aces these last several seasons. Like from an organizational or a front office standpoint, I don't think they've assembled. They have not done a good job assembling a complementary roster around her these last couple of years. After they went back to back to win the titles, I'm not saying they rested on their laurels, but I think they were very slow to kind of adapt or respond to what the rest of the league was doing. And all that's to say is that like this season, at one point they were like outside of the playoff picture. They were like firmly in like ninth or 10th, and they're now back up to third seed. I mean, she's pretty much carried that team back to be a legitimate title contender. I mean, I think the teams ahead of her or ahead of the Aces are probably still have the advantage, but still, I mean, to have done what she's done is insane, and she's still doing it year after year. So I think, yeah, Asia Wilson is still the best player in the dub.
Okay, most unstoppable move: Asia's jumper or Stewart's fadeaway.
Ooh, are those my only two options?
Yeah,
Okay.
or Caitlin Clark's step back three.
So what are my options again? Asia's what?
Her jumper, Stewart's fadeaway, or Caitlin Clark's step back three.
Probably Asia's jumper out of a flash post. Like out of
Okay.
like a short post up. Yeah.
Um, More exciting, blocker or 3-pointer.
Ooh, 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Definitely a 3-pointer.
Most underrated team.
Underrated team. Let me think. I mean, they're currently, I think, right now they're the second seed, but they're not talked about as a legitimate championship contender. I think that's the Atlanta Dream. They kind of made some significant. They made some significant changes, both personnel, like roster, and coaching staff. They brought in Carl Semesco from Florida International, and he's well known for his again run and gun, right? Like high octane offense, gun, like jack up a lot of threes. There was a lot of skepticism, like, okay, can his style of play really be? Is it a viable option? Like, can it actually translate to the WNBA? Can he even, like where he's primarily coached in college? Can just his way of coaching, his mannerisms, his demeanor translate. And my gosh, he has the Atlanta Dream just firmly in the championship hunt. Um, he's turned two players in Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones, who have been primarily low post players all their career, and he has successfully integrated them into his 5-out offense. They're humming. They are extremely underrated defensively. I've seen them up close a number of times this year, and it's just amazing how they muck up the game. Even when you have like teams that are not reckless, like they're struggling to get into any of their action. So I think Atlanta, and then one who's very low key because they're not in the playoff picture at all. I'd have to say the Connecticut Sun, which they were looked at as a laughing stock because they've gone complete rebuild. Like
Yeah.
they're going for the future. But now you quickly like you start to see like the young players, they're young. They're either like true rookies or second year players. Like they let all their veterans go. They either trade them away or let them walk in free agency. This is a complete young team, and they're completely gelling now. You see a lot of reason for optimism for them moving forward. So I think Connecticut, I don't know if they'll necessarily get back to where they were, like as you know, like they were a Final Four team last year. I don't know if they'll get there that quickly by next season, but the future looks very bright for them.
Wasn't that the team that was it that Mabry that took out Caitlin Clark, the son, when she was on the team? Or am I
Yes,
thinking of someone different?
yes, no, that's her. That's Marina. She's there. That's Marina. Yeah.
What? What? Quick side note: what are your what's your opinion on how some of the league is? Do you think they're kind of singling out Caitlin Clark? And I mean, not like the league, like the front office, but like players going after Caitlin Clark. What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously there's a storyline, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think because a lot of the off-court, discourse or kind of seeps into the on-court play, right? Like you start to think like, okay, did these things about whatever's going on off the court, is this now influencing what's happening on the court? I can't say for certain. I'm probably not the best to ask because you know, you followed me for a while. I typically just break down film. But if you want
Yeah,
like my opinion, yeah, I mean, I definitely do think I wouldn't say targeted, but I do think that anytime opponents play her or play the Fever, they do they look at it as an opportunity to make a statement.
right.
I think it's very clear. I mean, again, my opinion is I think it's clear that the league has definitely featured Caitlyn as like the face of the league or one of the faces of the league. You know, whether or not those play like her peers think that's earned or not, it's just again right like it's any time. Like I'm not saying Caitlyn's at the level of say like Michael Jordan, right? But anytime Michael Jordan came to town, of course, right? Like teams want to like try to like either show him up or like try to go toe to toe, right? Because you're getting so much spotlight's on me now for having like either one up you or
Yeah,
held serve. So I think a lot of players, especially like veterans, I think more so in her rookie year. Well, it's kind of hard to say. She's been injured so much this year, but
yeah,
definitely her rookie year. I think a lot of established veterans, I think, yes, they definitely wanted to clap back. Like, I think they wanted, like, hey, like we've earned, you know, uh, our standing in the league, right? Like we've earned our due. I think they kind of wanted to be like,
keep her in
hey,
check.
exactly, right? Like you're still a rookie, you know.
Yeah, I remember
Um,
watching. She came back from that groin injury, and was it that Mabry again that like kneed her like in the inner upper thigh, and she went back out again. It's just like and then um, so then when Mabry got her in the eye, and then Sophie
yeah.
Cunningham went down and whatever started that whole melee, and now then you see teams started playing Cunningham rougher, like get like when she's trying to like post up, they're like sitting there like just like, and the refs aren't even calling it, and it's just like it's I don't know. I just think the refs sometimes lose control of games
They
without
definitely
knowing they're
do.
losing in control
They
of
definitely
games.
do.
You know,
I think every WNBA coach, every WNBA player, every fan, I think they would totally agree with that sentiment. I think the refing has been bad from day one till now. Like there has been even within games, there is just absolutely no consistency. I think a lot of WNBA refs are very timid too. I think I think there are some that get really freaked out by the ref. You suck, ref. You. So I
yeah,
think they're scared to blow the whistles at times, and so it definitely gets out of hand, as you said, to the point where some players, I think, I do think some of these injuries could have been avoided. You know, like I
right,
know that it's kind of ironic because I know like the WNBA, the league itself, and the fans. Like if you're a diehard WNBA fan, like oh well, we're not like the NBA, right? We're more physical. We don't allow those. Like we play through those soft fouls. That may very well be true, but again, as you said, these things accumulate. you know,
Yeah.
and then it culminates in those things that are bad. And by the way, I don't know if you know, Sophie Cunningham is out for the season.
Yep. She got
Yeah,
her what, knee
yeah,
rolled into or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. Which again, she acknowledges like it was not intentional or
Yeah. She
anything. I
said that
don't.
she knew the player and like she had something. Well, she made her sister delete the comment she made or something like that
Yeah,
or
yeah,
I don't know. I thought that was. I mean, I guess I like the one where I just like how she stuck up for her teammate. I thought that swipe on Clark's face was intentional. I thought it was dirty, and Sophie Cunningham, what is she, like a black belt or something like that in Taekwondo or something like that, and
yeah,
so I thought it was awesome how like she just like nonchalantly just like grabbed control of that what Sheldon's hair and just had her like she wasn't gonna touch her.
yeah, yeah.
It's you don't want to see that, but it's entertainment. That's all I guess. That's all I
It
can
is.
say.
Yeah.
But toughest player in the league.
Ooh, that's a good one. Toughest player in the league. There are quite a few. Um, Man, it's hard to pick one. I mean, I guess the first one that comes to mind is Alyssa Thomas. Power forward, point guard, center of the Phoenix Mercury. I think I think that's the thing. Every team she's on, they always kind of take on her personality, her characteristics. Where she is. I wouldn't say she's soft spoken, but like she is very good at maintaining like her composure,
Sure.
in a way where it becomes very intimidating. Um, who else? Toughest player in the league. I mean, I want to say actually, I'm going to give a shout out to my hometown Golden State Valkyries. I think our starting point guard Veronica Burton, who's emerged, I think she will win Most Improved Player. Um, but she has emerged not as just one of the best pure point guards in the WNBA. She's also arguably one of the best, if not the best, point of attack defenders in the league. And it is crazy, like how tenacious she is on defense. Um, at the point guard position too. She's like what 5'8", 5'9", and I mean she is everywhere on defense. Um, yeah, she definitely lifts up the team. She elevates the team defense through her individual play. So I gotta have to give her out a shout. I mean, there are a lot. There are a lot of tough players in the league. I don't think there's too many soft players, but yeah, I'd go with Alyssa Thomas.
Okay.
Frankly, I think she like kind of intimidates me. Like I would imagine, like if I was playing her, I'm like, nah, no, man.
Yeah.
you know, I'm probably gonna take the three because I don't want to drive on her. You know what I'm saying?
Who has the best rivalry in the league?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, who has the best rivalry? Like I know the media wants it to be like whether it's player to player rivalry or team rivalry. Like there's just no rivalry. Like to me, I don't know. I don't really see a rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I understand like if you want to go back to their collegiate days, okay. But I mean, like right now, I don't think either has done enough, especially against each other in the WNBA, for it to be like a real rivalry. Um, I probably want to say the Lynx and the Liberty right now, at least from the team's perspective, just because these last several years they've been the two best teams
Sure.
and it's not even close, right? It's like them and there's a big, like drop off to the next teams, right? In the hierarchy. Um but in terms of like actual player, I don't know. I mean like Skylar Diggins versus anyone, right? Like I think that's like I mean I love Skylar Diggins, a player, but that's the thing, right? I think that's part of her reputation is that she can kind of wear on people. So like her rivalry, like a lot of her quote unquote rivals are a lot of her former teammates, right? Like there's a shelf life to how long you could be like Skylar's teammate. And I'm not trying to say that's a bad thing. It's just, like, yeah, right. You all have like your tendencies and everything like that. So yeah. I think that's a good
Yeah, I
one.
thought that the media kind of rode that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese rivalry a little
Yeah,
bit too much, and
they tried to do it too with Caitlin and Paige Beckers, and I kind of understand it. Like again, it's more obviously driven from what they did in college.
right,
Because let's be real. I mean, like right now, the Dallas Wings are like, I mean, they literally have like what the worst or the second worst record in the league. Um, I guess like again, I can understand the angle there. Like they're both point guards, but I was actually having this conversation with like some other basketball media just earlier today. It's like, yeah, if you really want to, for the sake of sports discussion, you could say like Paige versus Caitlin, but they play their position so differently, you know? Like it's not even like what are you really comparing at that point, Like it's just because they happen to both be called point guards, but I mean like, you know, that's like saying like, "Oh, who's a better power forward? Like Dirk Nowitzki or like Amari Stoudemire?" You know what I'm saying? Like they play it
yeah,
completely differently. So, yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I like watching Paige play.
I do too. I do too. Actually, to be honest, that's why I said earlier your question, what's the most unstoppable move or whatever? I was gonna throw in Paige Becker's pull up midi.
Or
I don't think like the way she can manipulate the cadence going into it, like you don't really know when to contest it. It's crazy.
it sure wouldn't be Angela Reese's layup. I tell you that.
Well, I mean, the offensive rebound layup is getting a lot better,
The me bound.
Yeah.
Oh, which rookie takes over the league next?
Current rookie?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Paige.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna because next, if you're saying like next year, probably. I
Yeah.
would not be surprised if we're saying like by the end of their rookie contracts. I think Dominique Malanga of the Seattle Storm has a good
Okay.
shot. Yeah, the 6'6" center from France. I mean, because now that she's getting minutes, and she's gotten a little bit more comfortable. Only 19. It's starting to come together.
You know what I think would be cool? I just random thought popped up into my head. Like All Star Weekend for the WNBA. Why can't they just lower the rims to like 8 foot and have like a dunk contest? I mean, there are some girls in the league that can dunk.
I mean, Malanga, there have been opportunities where like she really could have, especially like on the fast break, like in transition. Like that was kind of like a recurring joke. Like when is she gonna dunk and who's she gonna dunk on? Like I get it. You don't want to accidentally miss, and everything like that. But I'm yeah. I mean, I suppose they can. I know a lot of players kind of don't like that idea. I think it's kind of like I don't know. I think they want to be able to be appreciated for what they can do, as opposed to maybe like
Right.
what they can't. So I totally understand
I
that.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you seen that clip on social media? It was like a NBA 2K25 of Caitlin Clark dunking over LeBron James.
I did not see
Somebody,
that.
somebody made that. Yeah. I thought it was funny. Best current coach in the WNBA.
The best overall,
Best current coach. Yeah.
Cheryl Reeve of the Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah. I like watching Collier play too. She's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi?
Sue Bird.
Sue Bird.
Yeah.
Iowa Joe. Because Joe, we're talking basketball because it's fun.
Yes, that's right.
um, Lisa Leslie or Candace Parker?
Ooh, that's a really good one. Oh man, Rick. I feel like I should say Lisa Leslie, but I want to go with Candace Parker. Again, didn't quite play at the position similarly, but I really like. I think at her best, Candace could, you could play her like 3 through 5 comfortably. Like I think she could legitimately comfortably play all three of those positions. Um, I mean, just the defense, the passing, and everything like that. So I'm gonna go with like if for me, I'm gonna go with Candace.
Okay. Greatest dynasty: the Comets, Lynx, or Aces?
Ooh, Are those our only choices?
Or you add your own?
No, I'll go with the comments.
Okay.
I think the comments. Yeah, I mean, I think at that point, I mean, obviously the league was a lot different as they were in all those like dynasties that you just listed. But at that point, I mean, you had like just so many players that absolutely like defined the game, and kind of set the tone for where the direction of the league and women's basketball was going. So I mean, I'm probably, yeah, maybe that's nostalgia, but I'm gonna go with the comments.
Okay. Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese?
Um, see again, in what way? Just pick one.
Just just like I don't know, like I guess like overall player. Like
Right now, I'm gonna go with Caitlin. I'm
okay,
gonna go with Caitlin. I think again, she definitely elevates her teammates. I think there are a lot of things obviously she can do individually that could really make her an even more uh, definitive force in the league. Let's put it that way. Right? I don't want to say stoppable, but like, where she could like really just possession to possession, whether she's on ball or off ball. There's a lot of basically I think that she could do off ball. But Angel, I really like, even though it's been a very frustrating season for the Sky. I was having a conversation just again this morning with one of like my basketball media peers, and she has really taken some big strides. I don't think people really envisioned her like when she came into the league having the ability to be like a point forward. I understand people like say, "Oh, come on, look at those turnovers." It can't really be, but I mean, like Chicago is a very poorly built roster. They have. I don't really think I think at most they have one WNBA like caliber guard. Like they have guards, but they really shouldn't be in the league. I'm sorry, like it's true. I think again, it's two different positions. They play, completely differently, but the direction Angels taking, you ask me this next year, it could very, very well be the other way around because I
sure,
mean what she's doing, especially again, as you said, her dominance on the boards. Now you're seeing her being able to actually like push the ball in transition, make plays. Got something there. So yeah, right now I'll go with Caitlin, but I can definitely see Angel emerging, in that head-to-head race.
sure. Do you think there is a need for expansion in the league?
I do. I do. Obviously, someone like myself who like aspires to be working for like one of these teams, it helps that in the next 4 years they're adding five more teams, right? So it increases my odds.
Do you know where
Um,
the locations are yet?
oh yeah, next year we're going to be introducing the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire,
Okay,
and then after that, uh, they haven't officially uh, come out with their branding or their names yet. But Detroit will have one. A lot of speculation that they'll be the Shock, like they used to be in the early 2000s. You know, Philadelphia will get one. I don't believe they've ever had one, so their name will be novel. And then Cleveland was granted a team. Now they also had one, I believe, last time. I think when they folded was in the early 2000s, and they were like the Rockers. I don't know if they're going to go with that again, but I know there's a lot of support for that. I would
right.
be surprised if Detroit isn't the Shock. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
But should there be expansion? Absolutely, absolutely. I think just even right now, you're seeing a lot of very high quality players, right? Unlike the NBA, not only are there only 13 teams right now, and that's including the Valkyries that were an expansion team this year, but every roster only gets 12 players, whereas in the NBA, 15, right? 15 then plus three two-way guys, you
right.
know? Um, so not only are there fewer teams, there are just fewer roster spots. Um, there are so many players like we've seen this year. A lot of really good WNBA veterans get phased out. Why? Because a lot of high quality players from overseas were brought in. You know, that's the thing. Like the game within, like the players in Europe and Asia, like those leagues are very competitive, and their leagues their schedule, their season does not overlap with the dub, so they can double dip. You know, all I'm saying is there's just a plethora of talent. I think we're in a good position where they can afford expansion, and that's not even taking into account this next generation of players. Because I do a lot of like collegiate scouting, and these players on the cup coming up, they're really good. They have the they have the talent, the pedigree to potentially be like a franchise player one day for their respective WNBA teams.
Sure. Yeah, it's I don't know. It'd be cool to see it expand and the pay get a little bit better for the players. I think personally.
Well, that is the whole holdup. There's potentially going to be, the current CBA ends this offseason. So the Players Association is currently in the process of trying to negotiate a new CBA because, yeah, the league signed this very lucrative TV deal, billions of dollars. So, yeah, they absolutely should see significantly more pay. And that's why there's speculation as to whether or not there could be a lockout if the league and the Players Association can't come to an agreement.
Current face of the league.
Current face of the league. I mean, the media, the league itself is telling you it's Caitlin Clark. In my opinion, though, it's Nafisa Collier and Asia Wilson. Like,
Yeah,
I think, when it comes to how fans view it, those are the two players that stand out the most, in terms of like they are recognized. When you think of WNBA, you think of those two players. You could probably throw in Brianna Stewart in that one too. But
sure. Who's going to win the championship this year? Do you think?
okay. There are very significant injuries, right? Like Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier have both been out for extended time for their respective teams. Now, I am assuming, I'm going to go off the assumption here that they both return and they are healthy for the playoffs. By all accounts, that seems to be the case. So I'm going to say the Lynx and the Liberty will meet again in the WNBA finals, but this time the Minnesota Lynx will win the championship.
I gotta say, what's up, Ernest?
What's going on, man?
um, let's fall back to a couple more football questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
If you gotta go, let me know. Who do you think's gonna win? Who do you think's gonna win the AFC and the NFC and meet in the Super Bowl?
Man, I feel like it's so. I think it's more open ended, than some people think. Just again, nature of players on the move and stuff like that. NFC, I want to say the Eagles. I think they're still built. I know everybody else in that division believes they have an opportunity. Well, maybe not the Giants, but like I know Commander fans, think they have a shot. I know that Cowboy fans are always like thinking, it's their year. No, but in all honesty, I think the Eagles are still a very deep team. Where like as we saw last year, I mean, they can kind of play their way even through like injuries or a tough part of the schedule. We'll see. But I like what they're looking like. As for the AFC, that's tough. I don't think I've ever actually come up with an AFC favorite this year. I mean, I guess we could say the Chiefs. The Texans is tough. I know a lot of people like the Texans, but they keep getting hurt. You just haven't seen it. You really have not seen that unit together.
What about Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean, I think they do have a good path. Just given the nature of their division. Yeah, you know what? Let's be original. We'll go with Buffalo. We'll go with
Okay.
Buffalo. I mean, Texans have a running back, Ernest. It's just, will he be there? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Bills and I hate to say the Eagles because you know I don't like the Eagles at all. Yeah. Um, and I'm not gonna say the Lions because they're not gonna make it that far. Definitely not the Bears. What the hell? Packers and Bills.
There you go. I mean, I want to right now, again. If the Niners didn't have like all these random injuries, I'd probably say Niners, especially right since we're hosting the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Like, hey, why not? I'm gonna go full homer, but man, I don't know. But hey, like I said from the top of the episode, get the injuries out of the way now. Even though that's totally not how it works, but still.
What are your thoughts on the Micah Parsons situation in Dallas?
I think it's in line with the way Jerry Jones has kind of handled things the last not even a couple years, these last several decades,
Do you
right?
think he ends up in Green Bay?
I mean,
Him and Love have the same agent.
right. Uh I don't think it's a question is he worth what they're going to ask in a trade, right? They're probably going to ask for like what? Multiple number ones,
And a
whatever.
young defensive player, and
Yeah. Is he worth it? Probably. I think the question is your front office willing to meet those the asking price?
I don't know. We got a new president in Mister Ed Policy because
Yeah.
Mark Murphy retired. Wasn't Carbon Policy? Wasn't that his dad in San Fran?
You
Yeah,
got it. Yeah.
and so I think if he'd want to make a big splash, make an impression on his first year in the job, I think that would be the acquisition to do. And if they did do it, I'd want to sign him to a long term contract, not just have him for you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but I do think that we have the potential with Rashawn Gary and Quay Walker and Lucas Van Ness. He was looking good in practice and everything. So I think we
Oh.
have the guys in house to do what Parsons can do. I mean, not the level, but at what point are you going to pay this guy coming in all this money then not have money for the rest? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
it would be awesome, but at what point is it worth it? If it I don't know. I could go either way.
it's different with like a defensive player like Micah Parsons. It's just like you kind of seen these last several years, whether it's Ezekiel Elliott or Des Bryant, right? Like Jerry will find a way to like hold on to them until like they've lost all their trade value.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because then I was thinking like, uh, say for example, the Packers didn't go after Micah Parsons; they went after like Trey Hendrickson.
Doable. Probably get
Yeah,
him for cheaper.
I think you probably could. However, the Bengals owner, he always makes things probably more difficult than they should be. But all I'm saying is, right, like I could see a team. Then you're telling me, okay, if the Packers acquired like a Trey Hendrickson, maybe I would put him ahead, or at least on level, on par with the Eagles, okay, right there's a direct path there. But yeah, right. I think those are the types of moves that could maybe swing that decision. I guess the same thing goes for some of those AFC teams, but I don't think they
Sure.
have teams to be able to acquire a player of that caliber.
Yeah, I was joking today. I was at Lambeau Field for a little bit, met up with some friends, and they're lighting off like green and yellow like fireworks. Must be getting ready for the preseason game tomorrow, just to test whatever.
Yeah,
And I was joking, it's like, yeah, how like the Vatican, there's smoke or whatever, white smoke when they chose a new pope.
yeah.
They're lighting off fireworks to announce they got Micah Parsons, and they started laughing. But yeah, it should be an interesting year. It's just like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm really excited to see what Matthew Golden can
Mhm.
bring to Green Bay. I hope Miko Hardman. I was pumped when they got him his first showing in preseason. He had fumbles and drop passes and muffed kickoffs and or punts, and if he can be the caliber he was in Kansas City, that'd be huge. He's another guy that can take off the top of the defense. I mean,
Yeah.
he was burning people in training camp. I mean, he was getting a good 2-3 yard separations on those routes. If you have if you have Dubs and Hardman and Golden and say Christian Watson comes back or Jaden Reed, that's 5 receivers that are super fast. And what's the defense going to do in a situation like that?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see what they march out with in week one and see what we got and go from there. But I know I kept you a little bit longer than I normally do. I do appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, this has been fun as
Yeah,
always.
I'll have to reach back out during later on this season and get you back on. By that time,
Yeah.
we'll have a WNBA champion probably crowned and some headlines to follow and
Yeah,
see how
the Niners will be like 8-0 and we can touch base and everything. And
oh and 8.
so
No.
let's meet somewhere in the middle there. Okay.
Yeah, 4 and
Yeah.
4. But yeah, again, Conrado, I do appreciate you. Where can people find you? And I do notice you do have quite the following of WNBA followers and whatnot on socials. So let the people
Yeah.
know where they can find you.
Yeah, as always, you can find me on Twitter or X. My handle's at CP3_777. And if you just look at the top of my profile, there's a link to my podcast, East Meets West. I would encourage everyone to subscribe, check out the videos, drop a like, drop a comment, anything, everything. It's all appreciated.
For sure. And you can find me if you go to my Twitter handle or X handle. It's at cheesetalk_pod. Cheese is spelled with a Z. And go in my bio. I got Linktree in there with all my socials. You can come find me on there. I'm not going to list them all because it's like seven different usernames. So
Diversified.
same concept, but different usernames. But yeah, again, I appreciate you, and we'll check back in a few months with you and see how
Yeah.
things are going.
Look forward to it.
Sounds good. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Take care.